Happy Friday, everybody. It is Friday, July 26th, 2019. And thank you to Jennifer Ross, who sent me the loveliest email. Jennifer had been watching some of my older videos and came across this piece that I haven't shown on my channel for a little while. And sorry, my name is Caroline. Welcome if you're new here. And she wanted to know what my color conversion was because she'd never seen it done in different colors, and she didn't have anyone close to her that was able to help her with color substitutions, and she really liked it, wanted to know what I'd used. So, I pulled it out and I got her the information, and it, of course, as you do, you start looking at your work and you think, oh, I'd really love to put a few more stitches in that. So thanks to Jennifer, this is what I'm going to work on today, and probably what I'm going to work on for tonight as well, for Friday Off the Grid Stitch With Me party on the Facebook group. So this is a Northern Expressions needlework piece. It's called the Twisted Band Sampler. Forgive my crinkled photo, cover photo here. So as you can see, the original design calls for sort of a rainbow transition. There's also two versions of this pattern. There's a specialty stitch version and a cross stitch only version. I am doing the cross stitch only version because Stitcher Know Thyself, if it was a specialty stitch version, I would never finish it. I would start it, but I know myself, I would never finish it. It's just not, I can do specialty stitches and I know how to look them up and practice them and do them properly. But for me, I just prefer to, of course I love the look of them. It's just executing them. For this particular piece, I wanted to finish it, so I went with just the cross stitch version. I cannot take credit for the colors that I chose. I have to give full credit to my friend Audrey, who I've mentioned here on the channel before. She was an incredibly special woman in my very close-knit group of stitching friends here in London, Ontario. And she passed away recently. And whenever I look at this piece, I have very fond memories of laughing with her and telling her how much I loved her version and that I wanted to totally copy her and use her color conversion. So let me tell you a little bit about what the colors that Audrey chose that I'm working with today. So as you can see, the original goes through sort of the rainbow order. I believe that's rainbow order, isn't it? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But it's sort of, we go through the colors. So what I'm doing instead is I've chosen, Audrey chose 4 different colors, shades of purple, and 1 variegated thread that has purple in it and some teal. And then we're sort of alternating from throughout those 4 colors. Okay, so we started this as a stitch along at Thread and I, and everybody that stitched this piece chose their own color variation. We had a couple of people who stuck to the original, and then a lot of other people just chose their own colors. And I wish I could find photographs of everybody's projects in progress, because seeing the same design done so many different ways, it was really inspiring. So we chose 4 different silks from Dinky Dyes, and I'm going to try and go in color order here, even though I don't have them in order on my hoop here. So the lightest purple is called Orchid, and it is number 90. So that's this purple here. The next one up is Amethyst, number 23. That's this one here. The dryer's beeping at me. Sorry about that. This beautiful dark purple here is called Orchid, number 90. And then the last, well, actually it's the one I started with first up in the corner here. This is called, oh, did I tell you? No, I told you the first one was Orchid, didn't I? Pardon me. Did I get this one right? Boulia? That's the lightest color. I think I've just gotten all of my colors wrong. Okay, I'm gonna do that again. Just carry on stitching. All right, Boulia is the first one, number 139. Next one up is Amethyst, number 23. Then we have Orchid, which is number 90. And then the fourth one is this beautiful variegated color, and it's called Ocean Grove, number 76. And these are all put out by Dinky Dyes. I did just the other day look at Dinky Dyes' website so that I could get these names and numbers for Jennifer. They are all still available for sale, in case you also love this particular color. So what I've been doing is, as I open up a new skein of silk, I've been putting them on their own, sorry for the mess here, their own thread drop, so that I can keep everything separate and as organized as possible. And then this grouping of floss, I tuck this away into a notions pouch, and that's it. Okay, so I have purposefully left this here so that I could show you the top of the design before scrolling down. That dryer, it's gonna give up in a minute, I promise. So we'll just ignore it. I will ignore it. Maybe you didn't even notice it until I pointed it out. I thought I would leave this at the top and so that I could scroll down and show you the top of the design before I started stitching today. So down we go. And then at the moment, I'm working my way down this particular band here. So I started off with the Ocean Grove, Boulia, Orchid, no. Yeah, Amethyst. Is that right? Yeah. Ocean Grove, Boulia, Orchid, Amethyst. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, so the color I'm working with right now is the Boulia color. And we are ready to go. So yet another Friday has rolled around. Oh, you know what? I didn't tighten my bars. Hang on a second here. I forgot to tighten the finial ends. I was too excited to get stitching. There we go. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I had been really lucky to obtain Kay's lap frame, one of the older ones, at an estate sale from a friend who's a knitter and a stitcher. And it's one of the wooden ones. I have a couple of the other versions of that frame, and I enjoy using them to stitch on. But at the same time, and I didn't share this on the Monday video, though I did ask some questions about it on the Facebook group. So some of you know that I managed to find a different type of scroll rod system that I've never used before, and I still haven't really tried them out. I wanted to be able to take my time and set them up properly, and I just haven't had that time. But they are called Lock Scrolls, L-O-K scrolls, and I watched a video put out by Brian Blitzstitch, and he does a great demonstration of how to load your fabric into these scroll rods. And I'm looking at this system, and I have a couple of pieces. The rods that I bought from this woman are, frankly, they're a little bit on the short side, and that's probably why I haven't tried them out yet, because most of my projects are massive, and these rods just aren't wide enough to load the fabric into. So they're gonna be useful for smaller projects. So I'm considering, once I've given them a really good try, that I might go ahead and purchase some longer rods for the system. Or, I could just finish a few projects that are on some of the rods that I already have and free those rods up. But, neither here nor there. That is part of the downside of being so enamored with such large scale pieces. They take a long time, and I am not a monogamous, clearly not a monogamous project stitcher. So my scroll rods tend to be in use for long periods of time. So because these silks are a variegated floss, I would not, sometimes if I have one that, I don't tend to railroad my stitches. I probably should, but my stitching is really just for me, and it doesn't bother me overly much. However, if you don't know what railroading is, it's simply when you stick your needle in between the two strands of floss before you place your needle into the stitch, so that as you bring your thread through, it separates those two legs and it makes the top of your stitch lie neat and flat and tidy. I'm usually in too much of a hurry. So sometimes if I see I'll have a leg that's crossed, I'll go in and touch it up. But yes, definitely railroading regularly would take care of that issue for sure. However, this is a 32 count white even weave, and I love this project. I will stitch on whatever fabric that I think is going to give me the desired finished effect for what I want to see the project look like. So I don't care if it's linen or even weave or Aida or, canvas. I will stitch on anything. So when I'm kitting up a project, I look at what the finished design looks like, what floss I'm going to be using, what the coverage of that floss is going to be like, how I'm going to be finishing it. Is it going to be framed on the wall? Am I going to be making it into a bag or a pillow or an ornament or something like that? And then determine how big I want it to be. If you want it to be really big, then you're not going to want to choose like a 56 count linen, because that's going to make your project smaller. So this is a very, very long design, as I'm sure you've noticed. And at 32 count, it's not going to be tiny by any stretch, but it's not also going to be as big as it would have been if it had been on 28 count fabric. And I do plan on framing this and putting it on the wall. Dinky Dyes is a lovely silk. Really, really beautiful, good quality silk, and the colors are phenomenal. I've had this started and in progress for over a few years now, that's for sure. So it would be nice to finish up maybe a few more bands before this gets put away. I was also looking at the other project that I briefly considered working on today was my Glendon Place Witch's Wheel. Because I don't know, it's a funny thing about me, and many of you know that I split a cone of 310 many years ago with another customer at Kathy and Neil's shop many years ago, and it was like the biggest cone you could possibly buy. So I think I ended up with 500 meters of DMC 310, and I love using it. I love using it. So I use it for my landmark tapestries. I use it for anytime I need black. And of course, the Witch's Wheel is entirely stitched with black thread, and then you add in it's heavily, there's a lot of beads in it, and all of the color on it in the stitched part is done with beads. And I don't know, there's something about emptying a bobbin of 310 and then having to refill it back up again from my massive cone of 310 that's very satisfying. I had this conversation on Monday, the Monday Floss Tube, where I was talking about making, I think I just unthreaded my needle by accident. Yep. I was talking about using up scraps for making patchwork bags, and how I found the act of using up those scraps very, very satisfying. Okay, hold please. I'm gonna have to put my face in front of the camera. I know I should use a needle threader, but that's not gonna happen. I don't have one here. And I'm not going downstairs to get one. Huh, hang on a sec. Okay, so I went ahead and finished the last few stitches with that one strand, and now we will reload the needle. Continue down that band. So I was talking about how I love to use up what I have, and especially making patchwork bags, being able to revisit, some beautiful favorite fabrics that I've used in the past, and all you've got is a little bit, and all you need to do is attach it to some other favorite scraps, and Bob's your uncle, you've got a beautiful new piece of fabric just by putting together those old ones. And I couldn't think of the right word. It's satisfying, but also something else, that feeling that you get when you use it up. And someone left me the best comment, and she said, well, that feeling you're describing is good old Upper Canada thrift. And I'm sure we can all, you see I've got a little knot here. Can you see it? You're right in the sun. Right there. And I decided at the time that I would leave it. And there's a big part of me that wants to come back in and fix this, but I'm not going to do it now. But I'm on the fence. I might just leave it, since if I just do this, it disappears. But really I should fix it, because the potential of that is that it could come undone, and then those few stitches would be loose. But I'm just not going to fix it right now. But what you do is, I would snip the loose bit in half, And then I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I will work on this project again, the next Stitch With Me video, and I'll fix it then. I don't have the things around me that I would like to have to fix it today, but I'll show you how to fix that next video, okay? It's going to just involve snipping this in half, dealing with the knot, making sure the knot is gone, and then I'm going to take each of those 2 tails that are left from snipping it in half, and then use a little bit of thread to pull them underneath the stitches that are back there. I guess I could do it right now, couldn't I? All right, you know what? Let me just bring this to the front. Let's take care of it now. Because heck, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next Stitch With Me video, and I'm talking about it now, so it's very silly that I'm not just going to go right ahead and do it. Okay, let me just pull my thread to the front here. Why not? Let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so that is secure. There, I'm going to take a spare needle. Now, I'm dealing with the sun here, so hopefully if I pull this like this, I'm going to move my light. Creak, creak, creak. Now, I think you can see this. I had to take my glasses off so I can see what you see. Yeah, okay, you can see it. So what I'm going to do is if I just tug at, now I've got that, got this. So for some reason, there's a little bit of that thread that's been caught there. Okay, so where is the knot? There's the knot. So I'm going to use my needle tip, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to loosen up that knot. Can you see that? So I'm pulling from the bottom of the knot, and that is going to pop that little knot free. Just wiggle it gently. There. Okay, so now what I've got is I have a length of loose. It's like a loop. It's loose, okay? Now, don't panic. But what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to leave that loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider that, because those ends are close enough together, I'm going to treat this like one length. Okay, so what I need then, I've shown this trick before, but not everybody sees everything, right? So sometimes it's good to do these things again. Oh, perfect. Look at this. I've got some bright orange floss here. So then you're really going to be able to see what I'm doing. How could you miss that, right? All right, so I'm going to take a length of that floss, and I'm going to fold it in half so that I've got the 2 ends together. Okay, so I've got the 2 ends together like that, and then the other end of that floss has a loop. I'm going to thread those 2 ends together through my needle. So then what I've got is I have a threaded needle with a length of floss that has a loop in the end. Okay? Whoops. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my needle in close to where what I want to fix is. Now, can you see how I'm threading my needle in and out of those stitches? Okay? Do you see where I've stuck my needle? Well, where I have my needle there is where this end is going to go. So I sew that needle through, and I bring it through and I pull it until the loop is at the end here. Now I'm going to stick my needle in the fabric so that I can deal with this with two hands. Then I'm going to put the loop over top of that loose end that I want to take care of, and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to put it in the middle of the loop. Okay, see how the loose thread is in the middle of the loop? Now I'm going to hold that loop. Can you, I know my fingers are right on top of it, but I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to hold on to the mistake. Okay, I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to pull that orange end. Now as it pulls through, it has grabbed that end. Now because there's two ends there, because I didn't trim them in half, it's a bit thick, so I have to pull. No, that's not going to work, it's too thick. All right, see, that's why we can do these things. It's all good. So we're going to do one at a time. It's too thick to do two, and that's not going to work. So I tried, but that didn't work. So then what I'm going to do instead is now I have to do one at a time because it's too thick to do two at a time, which I should have known ahead of time. So I'm going to take my scissors very carefully, and I've got them in between that loop of extra floss that shouldn't be there. And I'm going to snip. Now it's cut in half and I've got two ends I can deal with. I still have my tail of the looped tail there. So I'm going to deal with one at a time. So I'm going to put one of those ends into my end, hold on to it, and let's see, pull it through. So now one of those ends is free. This thing here, that's my working floss of the new stuff. That's not a mistake there. I'll just tighten that up a bit. So now I've just got one more end to deal with. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to try and choose a slightly different spot to sew my needle through this time. So let's go up the top leg here. There we go. Pull that through. Open up the loop. Lay it over top of the thread you want to bury. Okay, so you can see that. Now I'm going to hold on to that with my right hand, and then I'm going to pull that loop through with the other hand. It's caught the loop, and now I give it a tug, and it buries the end. So, fixed. So where I had a little knot there, I have now removed the knot, cut it in half so that I had two ends and securely buried them underneath. Many of you would be like, yeah, I'd just leave the knot. And that's fine too. But you know, if you want the best possible outcome for a back that's going to lie as flat as possible for framing purposes, and you know, look as neat and tidy as you can, you really should take care of knots. And you know, there is that chance that you saw how easy it was for me to pull that knot out with my needle. It could work itself out on its own, and then you're dealing with that loop of floss in the back of your project that's completely loose, and then your stitches on the front are going to be loose. So it's just a handy trick to have in the toolbox to know how to take care of that. And it's, you know, it's pretty cheap way to fix it, just with a little piece of leftover floss. Now look at that. The sun has decided to do the same thing that it did last week, and it is completely making it almost impossible to see my stitching here, because now I'm completely in shadow. I even have a very bright light over top. So anyway, let's do a few more stitches, and then I think I'll have to call it a day unless we get some cloud cover. All right, so where are we here? There we go. There. Hopefully you can still see a little bit. So a little bit of a heads up for videos over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be taking a little break from recording and putting up videos. So there won't be a video on Monday or next Friday or the following Monday. I will be putting out a video for the last Sunday of the month for high tea, and I will be filming that video in New Jersey. So that's exciting. I have a lot of stuff to do in order to be ready in time to go to New Jersey, and I leave next Wednesday. I'm driving down. I have a lot to do before I go, and so I just don't think I can squeeze in a couple extra videos, and it's going to feel very strange not doing a video on Monday. However, I have a few other things I have to take care of. So I will be popping into the Facebook group frequently, and I'll put up a few posts on Instagram, hopefully, about the trip and how things are going. And I'll see you on Sunday high tea. Let's just do a few more. This is one of those pieces. It's like popcorn stitching. Just one more, just one more, just one more. One more. It's so pretty. I just want to finish this square, and then I'll say goodbye. I got, completely lucky that I had that orange floss beside me, because that's what I was thinking in my head, that I needed something that you would be able to see. So that's the benefit to having a ton of stitching stuff beside you, I guess. There's always something there you can use. Two more. There we go. And that is that. All right, I am off to grab a glass of water and do a little bit of sewing. Time to make Nicholas go outside and play. Can't resist. I had to start the next stitch there. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this like this so that I'm set up for tonight, and I plan on listening to my audiobook, and I'm listening to I'm a bit of a true crime fan, and I'm listening to a book that was recommended by Letitia about Ted Bundy. It was written by Anne Rule. It is disturbing, to say the least. I mean, obviously, clearly it's about Ted Bundy. It's going to be, if that's not your thing, this is not the book for you. But it is. I've been finding it's quite an enthralling listen, because Anne Rule she actually knew him before. So she was a crime writer. Reporter, and she actually knew Ted Bundy before he was caught, and so it is a fascinating viewpoint of the information that most people know. And so I'm almost done that. So I'll be finishing that up, and then I hope to also catch up with some floss tube, and then maybe watch a bit of a movie with Nicholas tonight. So that's on the menu. And I also have a friend stopping by for a little visit, and it's gonna be a quiet weekend. So I hope you're well. Happy Friday, happy weekend, happy stitching, and I will be seeing you around. I'm sorry that there won't be regular videos out for the next couple of weeks, but being that it's the summer, let's just call this summer break. How's that? I'll miss you. I'll miss doing this. It feels very, very strange that there isn't going to be a video for a little while. Anyways, I'll see you on Sunday High Tea in a few weeks. And until then, take care. Happy stitching.